Please don't shoot me. I am unarmed. I'm blind. I didn't see you. I swear I wasn't trying to steal from you." The elderly black woman's voice trembled as she raised her hands. "Liar!" the white cop barked, his gun trained on her. "Keep your hands where I can see them. You're a thief, and I'll treat you how thieves are treated." "No, I am not. Please, I have served this country for years. I am a retired—" "I don't care who or what you are," he snapped, cutting her off. "Get down. Don't make me repeat myself." Before I could get down, I heard the gunshot. The shot ripped through my arm. A sharp, burning pain tore through my arm, knocking me off balance. My legs gave out, and I hit the cold floor hard. Screams filled the shop. Then, through the chaos, I heard it, a voice, clear and strong. "You just shot a retired Army general." And then above me, I heard something else. The cop's breathing, ragged, unsteady. For the first time, his voice shook. As we begin this story, where are you watching this story from, and what time are you watching it? Let us know in the comments. And if you believe that all people should be treated with respect and regard, no matter the color of their skin, subscribe to this channel to show your support and spread awareness. How did I get here? Lying in a pool of my own blood, pain pulsing through my arm, my life flashing before my eyes. How did it come to this? Let us go back to the very beginning. My name is General Lillian Carter, but most people call me Lily. I am 67 years old, a retired U.S. Army general. I served my country for 35 years, with the last 14 as a general. The Army was my life. I never married, never had children. My duty to America always came first. I lost my sight in a war, a gunshot wound to the head that nearly took my life. I spent 4 years in a hospital, fighting to stay alive. I survived, but my vision didn't. The doctors told me I would never see again. That was harder to accept than any battlefield loss. With no family left, I moved into a care home for veterans. The staff helps with things I can no longer do alone. It's not the life I imagined, but I try to make the best of it. Some days are harder than others. The darkness is always there, pressing in. Even after all these years, I still think like a soldier. I rely on sound, touch, and instinct. I may be blind, but I am not weak. I have faced death before, and I am still standing. But some battles are harder to fight, especially the ones in the mind when you are alone with your thoughts. Losing my sight was harder than anything I faced in war. I had trained for battle, for pain, for loss, but not for darkness. The moment I woke up in that hospital and realized I would never see again, my world changed forever. Simple things became impossible. I couldn't read a map, drive a car, or even pour a cup of coffee without help. My independence was stripped away. Every step required trust. I had to rely on others, something I was never used to. The general in me fought against it, but there was no winning this war. Lately, the weight of it all had been crushing me. The walls of the care home felt smaller every day. I spent too much time alone, trapped in my own thoughts. Depression crept in, quiet but suffocating. I needed to do something before it consumed me completely. I missed the feeling of movement, the sense of purpose. I needed air, space, anything to remind me I was still alive. That's why I begged my caregiver to take me on a walk on that fateful day. We usually would not go on walks on Tuesdays, but I needed to clear my head. It wasn't just about the fresh air. It was about proving to myself that I still had control, that I was more than my blindness. Maya, my caregiver, agreed to take me on a walk. She's young, full of energy, and always trying to lift my spirits. She wasn't in the mood at first, but she knew staying inside wouldn't help. I needed air. I needed to move. We stepped outside, and the city greeted me in ways I could still understand. The distant hum of traffic, the breeze on my skin, the steady rhythm of my cane tapping the sidewalk. These were my markers now. I couldn't see the world, but I could still feel it. Maya guided me carefully, warning me of steps and curbs. She knew I hated being treated like I was fragile, so she never overdid it. That's why I liked her. She respected the soldier in me. We headed to a small coffee shop a few blocks away. The scent of roasted beans hit me first. Rich, warm, familiar. It reminded me of mornings at the base, of quiet moments before chaos. Coffee was one of the few simple joys I had left. As we walked in, I felt a small weight lift off my chest. Maybe this was exactly what I needed, a little routine, a little normalcy, even in the dark. Maya guided me through the door, her grip steady on my arm. The warmth of the coffee shop wrapped around me instantly. The air smelled of fresh pastries and strong espresso. The hum of conversation filled the space, soft chatter, the clink of cups, the occasional burst of laughter. It felt alive. She led me toward the counter, then let go. "I'll handle the payment," she said, her voice light. "Just wait here." I nodded, standing still, hands clasped in front of me. The floor beneath my feet was smooth tile, cool even through my shoes. I focused on my breathing, slow and steady. In and out. I had been feeling heavy all morning, like something was pressing against my chest. Even this simple outing took effort. But I had to remind myself, I was still here. I was still standing. I listened to the coffee machines hiss and hum, the comforting rhythm of a place built on routine. These small things kept me grounded. I took another deep breath, letting the smell of coffee calm my nerves. Maybe today wouldn't be so bad after all. Then I took a step back, and everything changed. I took a small step back, just shifting my weight, but then my shoulder hit something solid. Someone. It wasn't hard, just a light brush, but the reaction was immediate. "Watch where you're going, you dirty pig," a deep voice snapped. The tone was sharp, irritated. I froze, my body tensing. Years of instinct kicked in. I could tell from his voice, he was a man, tall, broad, probably standing too close to begin with. I started, but he didn't let me speak. "Trying to pickpocket me, huh?" His voice grew louder, accusing. My stomach tightened. I had heard that tone before. Authority, assumption, control. "I didn't touch you," I said, keeping my voice even. "You bumped right into me." His breathing was heavy now. I could feel his anger rising. I lifted my hands slightly, showing my palms. "I'm blind," I said, slow and firm. "I didn't see you." It should have ended there, but it didn't. The energy in the room shifted. I could feel people watching. The tension thickened like a storm about to break. Then I heard it. The unmistakable sound of a gun being unholstered. Everything around me stopped. The moment I heard the scrape of metal from a holster, my body stiffened. Years of training flooded my mind. I raised my hands slightly, steady but slow. "Sir, I am unarmed. Please don't shoot me," I said, keeping my voice calm though my heart pounded. "I didn't see you. I am blind." The room felt frozen. The coffee shop, once filled with soft chatter and warmth, had turned ice cold. I could feel the eyes on us, the unease thick in the air. "Bullshit," the cop barked. "Blind or not, you knew what you were doing." I swallowed hard, trying to keep my breathing steady. "I bumped into you by accident," I said, carefully. "Nothing more." "You expect me to believe that?" His voice was sharp, filled with something deeper than just anger. "This is what you people do." There it was, you people. My jaw tightened. "Sir, I have served this country for... I am a retired..." "Shut up," he snapped. "I don't give a damn who you are. You tried to steal from me." "I did no such thing." "Of course you did," he growled. "That's what your kind does, always taking, always making excuses." The word hit before he even said it. I had heard it too many times, long before the uniform, long before the medals. I gritted my teeth, my grip tightened into fists, but I didn't move. I couldn't. The room had gone completely silent. A breath, a single heartbeat, stretched into eternity. Then the gun clicked. "Get on the ground," he ordered. And then, before I could say another word, a gunshot rang out. The gunshot shattered the air. A sharp, burning pain tore through my arm. My body reacted before my mind could catch up. My back hit the cold floor, the impact rattling my bones. For a second, I couldn't breathe. The pain was fire, spreading fast. Gasps filled the room. Someone screamed. Chairs scraped against the floor as people scrambled away. Footsteps pounded in different directions, voices overlapping in panic. "Oh my God!" Maya's voice pierced through the chaos. I felt her hands on me, warm and shaking. "General, stay with me, oh God, oh God." Blood soaked through my sleeve, sticky and hot. My fingers trembled as I pressed against the wound, not deep, a graze. I had survived worse. The cop's voice was shaky now. She moved too fast. He was talking to himself, trying to justify it. Maya's voice roared over his excuses. You shot a blind woman. Are you insane? The pain pulsed with my heartbeat, but I pushed through it. I had been shot before. I wouldn't break now. I clenched my teeth, swallowed the pain. Then Maya's voice cut through again, cold, furious. She's a retired army general. There's no way she was trying to steal from you. You just shot a war hero. You have no idea what you've done. A general? His voice cracked, the confidence draining from it. I heard it then, fear, not of me, not anymore. Fear of what he had done. My arm throbbed, but I stayed still, focusing on his breathing. It was shaky now, uneven. The arrogance from before had vanished. The room was silent, holding its breath with him. I didn't know, he whispered, almost to himself. His footsteps shuffled back. I imagined his hands shaking, sweat forming at his temples. His mind was racing, replaying the moment he pulled the trigger. I let the silence stretch, letting him feel the weight of it. Then, with a sharp clang, his gun hit the floor. That sound was familiar to me, but this time it wasn't surrender. It was a realization, the horror of an action that couldn't be undone. Oh God, he muttered. Maya's voice sliced through the tension. She told you she was blind. She told you she wasn't armed, but you didn't listen. Do you think Lily is handling herself well so far? If you were in her shoes, how would you handle the situation? Let us know in the comments. The cop let out a shaky breath. He was unraveling. My voice was low but steady. I couldn't see you because I was blind, but you didn't see me because all you saw was color. The weight of those words settled over him like a crushing force. Then the ambulance came. Someone had called them. As the sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder with each second. The room buzzed with murmurs, but no one dared move closer. Paramedics rushed in, their footsteps quick and urgent. I felt strong hands lifting me, easing me onto a stretcher. The pain pulsed through my arm, sharp and relentless, but I kept my face calm. I had felt worse pain before, both on and off the battlefield. Maya stayed by my side, gripping my uninjured hand tightly. Her voice trembled, but she kept reassuring me, telling me everything would be fine. Then I heard him, again. This time closer than before. The cop's voice, no longer filled with anger, now shook with something else. Guilt. I'm so sorry, he stammered. I didn't know, I thought... His words fell apart, tripping over themselves. He sounded broken, lost. I didn't turn my head, didn't respond. I just lay there, staring into my own darkness. His regret couldn't erase the bullet that grazed my arm, or the assumptions that put me on the ground. I didn't mean to. He started again, but his voice cracked, swallowed by the sound of approaching footsteps. The officers who arrived didn't hesitate. I heard the sharp click of handcuffs, the murmured reading of rights. Maya squeezed my hand, her touch warm and steady. They're taking him away, she whispered. I nodded slightly, letting the pain roll over me. The sirens screamed louder, drowning out everything else as they lifted me into the ambulance. The bullet only grazed me, nothing fatal, just another scar to add to the collection. I lay still in the hospital bed, listening to the steady beep of the machines. My arm was wrapped in tight bandages, the pain dull now, numbed by medication. I had been through worse, much worse, but my mind wouldn't let it go. The moment kept replaying, his voice, sharp with anger, the gun clicking, the split-second decision to pull the trigger. He never hesitated, not for a second. It wasn't just the gun, it was the instinct behind it. Shoot first, ask later. How many others never lived to hear an apology? I exhaled slowly, gripping the blanket beneath my fingers. The last thing the force needed was a trigger-happy cop, and worse, a trigger-happy cop who was a racist. I had served my country for decades, fought wars overseas, risked my life for the flag on my uniform, and yet, in that coffee shop, all he saw was a thief, a black thief. I wasn't going to let this go. I didn't care how long it took, how much I had to fight. I was going to make sure he never wore a badge again, even if it was the last thing I did. Before I even got discharged, I sued him. I wasn't going to let this slide. He had nearly killed me, and if I hadn't been who I was, I knew he would have walked away without any regrets. When the hearing rolled by, the courtroom was cold, the kind of cold that had nothing to do with temperature. Voices echoed, distant and flat. Lawyers spoke, the judge listened, but I just sat there, hands folded in my lap, waiting. Then came the verdict. 9 years for attempted murder. It was done. No hassle, no debate, just justice. A quiet kind of justice, the kind that happens when no one is watching, but a justice that still matters. I didn't react, I just breathed. He never said a word, never looked my way. Maybe he was stunned. Maybe he was empty inside, the way war leaves you after too much time in it. I knew that look well. But this wasn't war. I imagined his face, tight, jaw clenched, trying to understand how everything had gone so wrong. But I didn't care. He had pulled the trigger without a second thought. And now, he had 9 years to think about it. Do you think the trigger-happy cop got what he deserved, or do you think he should have gotten a second chance? To show your support and solidarity for Lily, hit the subscribe button right away. Blindness doesn't make me weak, age doesn't make me invisible, rank doesn't make me untouchable. But in this country, my skin has always made me a target. I have faced enemies on the battlefield. I have led soldiers through war. I have survived wounds that should have killed me. But the battle I fought that day in the coffee shop wasn't about war. It was about something deeper, something older. It was about the way people see each other, or refuse to. I hope this story teaches you something. To be kinder. To treat people like they matter, whether they are strong or frail, whether they stand above you or beneath you, whether they wear a uniform or rags, whether they are black or white. Because at the end of the day, none of that should matter. What matters is how we treat each other. So love one another, not because of rank, race, or status, not because of fear or guilt, but because it's what makes us human. And in a world so quick to judge, so quick to pull the trigger, kindness might just save a life. If this video made you reflect, share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Let's spark the conversations that lead to change. And if you believe in calling out injustice and amplifying stories that matter, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Together, we can shine a light on the truth and work toward a better world. Let's keep the conversation going.